Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on Love's Labour's Lost, and we are still in Act 4 as it is known in the folio, or Act 4 Scene 2 as it is known in lots of other versions. And today we get to hear from Holofernes, or however you want to pronounce that name, because different countries pronounce it different ways, and it's kind of an interesting name. So anyway, he is a school teacher who likes to hear himself talk and enjoys wordplay, and we just met him at the beginning of this scene/act, and he is chatting with the local priest. So we have a priest, a school teacher, and a policeman all chatting about the the Princess of France and her hunting deer just recently. But the thing is, these things that they're talking about all have like a sexual element to them, or a sexual counterpart. Like the deer could be female genitalia, and we're going to hear about sorrels just now, which could either be like a 3-year-old deer or a penis. And I think there's also sorrel mushrooms, but that's not what's being discussed here. But they're getting very clever, but they're also, with their wordplay, but they're also being just very dirty, because let's be honest, 90% of Shakespeare is dick jokes. And we introduced Nathaniel and Holofernes along with Dull and the other clowns, Armado and Jacanetta and Costard, so that we can have a lot of dick jokes in Shakespeare. So in the spirit of all these dick jokes, as they're going along talking about whether or not the queen, sorry, I keep calling her the queen. She is sometimes referred to as the queen, even though she's the Princess of France. Anyway, there's been some chatting about whether or not the deer that she killed was 2 years old or very much older, and Dull was able to like prove that it was a young buck that she killed, because the moon has been around since the beginning of time, but is also no older than 5 weeks, because every 4 weeks we get a new moon. But I'm very clever. And Holofernes, wanting to continue being clever, asks if he can say something clever, and they're like, yeah, have at it. And he says, I will something affect a letter, for it argues facility. The prayful princess pierced and pricked a pretty pleasing pricket. Some say a sore, but not a sore, till now made sore with shooting. The dogs did yell, put L to sore, then sorrel jumps from the thicket, or pricket sore, or else sorrel, the people fall hooting. If sore be sore, then L to sore makes 50 sores or sorrel. If one sore, I 100 make by adding but one more L. It's clever and it's full of alliteration. And the first line is he's saying, I'm going to use a lot of alliteration here. And then he's talking about the fact that if you take sore, which is this like 3-year-old buck, and you add an L to it, then suddenly it becomes a penis, and the pricket could be pubic hair, or it could be a bush, all that sort of blah, 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 blah. And if you put one in the other, then you get babies, is what he's saying. So all you need to do to change a sorrel, or a sore into a sorrel, just add the other way around. It's sex jokes. It's all just sex jokes, and I apologize to any young viewers out there who were sorely offended by this whole thing. The other thing that I'll point out is at the very end of this, where he says that if he just has a sore that he adds an L to, meaning a deer that he adds a penis to, or turns into a penis by adding an L, he does it by adding one more L, which is sort of like moral. The moral to the tale is that you can make babies. Fun stuff. So anyway, then very shortly, Jacanetta and Costard are going to enter, and then we're going to get to figure out what's going on with that. Because remember, there's a couple of letters floating around, the first of which has already gotten into the wrong hands, so where do you think the second one's going to end up? Anyway, we'll get more into that tomorrow, and I will see you then for that. Mwah.